Welcome back, and we're back now with more on that breaking news out of Russia this morning. Vladimir Putin ordering his country's first partial military mobilisation since World War II.
The announcement is causing chaos on the streets in Moscow and St Petersburg, with protests erupting overnight. Let's bring in CNN correspondent Ben Wiedemann, who is in Kharkiv in Ukraine this morning. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Dramatic and very concerning scenes in Russia this morning.
Yes, indeed. This announcement by President Putin that they're going to be mobilizing 300,000 reservists to send to Ukraine certainly changes the atmosphere somewhat here. It's important to keep in mind that to actually bring them in, train them, equip these reservists and deploy them is going to take some time. And at the moment, of course, on the battlefield, the Ukrainians seem to have the upper hand in this area, the Kharkiv region. They've managed to liberate around 10,000 square kilometers, and certainly we've seen the performance of the Russian army, which hasn't been very good throughout the entire war, but certainly in this part of the country in the first 2 weeks of September, we saw that their performance was disastrous. In Russia itself, what we're seeing are demonstrations popping up in places across the country against this call for a partial mobilization. Until now, the Russian military here representatives of the paramilitary Wagner organization has gone to prisons to offer prisoners their release in exchange for fighting in Ukraine, which that really goes to show how desperate the Russians are for troops willing to come to Ukraine. And the suggestion from these protests across Russia level of enthusiasm for coming to the Ukrainian front is lukewarm at best.
Yeah, we know many Russians are fleeing the country to avoid conscription. Ben Wiedemann for CNN, thanks so much for being with us this morning.